Hey everyone, welcome to another hot take on what else impeachment. One of my videos, I think it was a video or a cartoon, I don't even remember, was called Impeachment Forever. And that seems to be the strategy of the Democratic Party at this point. We're just going to keep impeaching Trump and hope something happens. Not going to happen. Cracks are already showing in the I don't know what you'd call it, the Democratic facade on impeachment. You've already got two Democrats in the House who are speaking out against impeachment and probably won't vote for impeachment. It's probably because they're in red or purple districts, and they know if they vote for impeachment, they're done. They're done in the next election. Impeachment is a political process. It's not a legal process. It's not like going to court for a speeding ticket. It's a process in which politically, Nixon went because politically he was radioactive and everybody knew it and everybody was outraged at what he did and he had to go. And so he resigned. They gave him the opportunity to resign with some measure of dignity. And that made the country very happy. We were very unified to get rid of Nixon. I was very young at that time, but I remember I saw a lot of the specials about the fallout from the Nixon administration. But people are not united about impeaching Trump. If you think people are, then you are living in a bubble, because more than 50% of the country greatly support Trump. His hardcore support is phenomenal. I mean, it's legendary. He has legendary levels of support from Republicans and people who vote Republican, not necessarily Republican voters. There are independents who tend to vote Republican. There are, moderates who love Trump. There are Bernie bros who became totally enamored with Trump because of his populism. He has a 95% approval rating for Republicans. That basically means there is no way Republicans are going to betray him. Not enough of them, anyway. If 5% of the Republicans betray Trump, the never-Trumpers, first off, they could kiss their careers goodbye. They're going to be on very shaky ground come their next election, and they know that. They're definitely going to be in trouble within their own party because, when you look at the Senate, for instance, the Republicans could lose 3 senators and still have 51 votes. I think they have 54, right? So 95%, you're talking one senator so you're talking 2.5. 2.5, that translates into 2.5 senators out of 50. So the math works out. Trump cannot be impeached. He will not be removed from office. And Mitch McConnell controls the Senate. So even if he was going to lose that vote, he'd never bring it up for a vote. You'd have to get rid of Mitch. And they're not going to replace him. If they replace him, they're not going to replace him with a never-Trumper. So the Republicans are very unified. There is no way Trump will be removed from office. This wasn't about that. Pelosi did this because she thought the inquiry would hurt Trump's numbers. But what she doesn't understand is she doesn't understand why Trump is popular and why he continues to be popular. Because Nancy Pelosi is a typical politician. She, every time she runs for election, she says a lot of platitudes and she gets reelected in a district that is very hardcore Democrat and just goes back to whatever schemes she's working on. Meanwhile, people are walking through human poop all over San Francisco and she doesn't care. I mean, it's not her problem. That's the local government. That's not me. That's your district. Should be doing something. But the thing is about Trump, he's very popular. The economy has helped a lot of people. There's no denying that. When employment is up and wages are up, you're talking about people who didn't have jobs working again. Those people are insanely grateful to Trump for this, even if this is only temporary. Especially for a man to be jobless is a man who really it's hard to be a jobless guy. It hurts you mentally to not have work. For a lot of men, if they can't provide for their families, they feel worthless. So there's a lot of good feelings towards Trump. Even people who don't particularly like him personally like Trump because the jobs are out there. Now you could argue, well, the jobs aren't that great. Wage growth is up. You could argue that prices are going up. Prices go up all the time. But the bottom line is, as long as people are working, as long as the economy's good, and he's an incumbent president, raking in record number of fundraising, good luck. Good luck is all you have to say. And on the other side of that are the Democrats who are that just can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. With this impeachment even, that to trot out these elitist college professors to lecture us on why we should think the way they do. Who are they? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? People aren't idiots. You have to have solid evidence. There's no evidence that Trump did anything wrong or wronger than anybody else. Now, you would have some credibility if when Biden bragged about blackmailing the president of Ukraine, people were up in arms and said, you're going to jail or you're being investigated. But since that didn't happen, and that video is all over the internet, nobody believes in this inquiry at all, especially for the Ukraine. I think that's why the Ukrainian thing popped up. I think it's part of Trump's ploy. I think he egged them on to do it because it's just a pathetic case. Even Jonathan Turley called the Democrats out on it. And there are plenty of Democrats who aren't fans of Trump. There are plenty of people like me who didn't even vote for Trump. I voted Libertarian. And I find myself constantly defending Trump. And what I get from people on the Democratic side is, oh, you voted for Trump. You support Trump. I'm not the enemy. I just have a different perspective from some of you who may still be Democrats hanging on, hoping Joe Biden can get his shit together. It's not going to happen. He is a mess. Even at his height of verbal skill, Joe Biden was nothing compared to Trump. Trump's going to run circles around him if he's on the debate stage. Now, I think it's more and more likely Hillary gets in. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to happen. I think really Joe should bow out. Maybe that'll be it. He'll just bow out and say, well, physically I can't do this. I don't know why Hillary's waiting for so long to do that. I guess it's because the strategy is the longer she stays out, the longer Trump can attack her. And then if she magically appears on the ballot, days before running, Trump won't have any time to tear her to ribbons, I guess. But she still would have to win the Democratic primary. So there's no stopping her running in the Democratic Party if she's going to run. She'd have to run within the party first to get the nomination. There's no other way that I could see. I mean, unless there's some wacky clause in the DNC's charter that nobody knows about, that if nobody gets, maybe they go to the convention and she just comes out the winner and she's never even run. That would be amazing. I wouldn't put it past the Democrats for doing that. That would essentially be the Democrats doing what they kind of did in the previous election, which is coronating a queen, coronating a monarch to represent them as opposed to actually having an election. Then you could kiss the DNC goodbye. I think the DNC is going to be in the weeds for decades after this election. I know a lot of Democrats don't believe that. But again and again and again, they just shoot themselves in the foot. They hit their heads against the wall. The impeachment has nothing going for it. Nobody's behind it. Nobody wants to watch it. It's boring. Jerry Nadler was dozing off in the middle of it. At this point, it's just a formality. It's just what Democrats now have gotten into. They've gotten into this mode of, yeah, this is what we do. We attempt to impeach Trump. But this is going to come back to bite them in the ass in so many ways. Even one day when the tables are turned and the Democrats are in power and the Republicans are doing this shenanigans, they can now point to, them going after Trump and saying, well, this is perfectly fine. This is exactly what you did to Trump. You investigated. I remember when Barack Obama was president, in the first 100 days, people were saying, you can't go after Obama the first 100 days. You got to give him a first 100 days at least. Did they give that to Trump? No, they were planning to impeach him even before he got sworn in. They were vowing he would never be president. And this is the problem. It's this insane hypocrisy. It is born of arrogance, their own arrogance, because they arrogantly thought, oh, of course people will vote for Hillary. Smart people will. But some people have different views. And some people desperately want a president that will get them work. And now that Trump has done that, people in the Midwest are infinitely grateful. Unions are starting to drift towards the Republicans. I think Trump is going to make a move at some point to basically take them away. He kind of has I think he probably kind of has. I think a lot of union guys probably are leaning towards Trump simply because, even though they're in a union, they kind of already have work. What has the Democrats done for them, really? If you work at GM, Obama bailed you out, but Trump is bringing in work. There's no denying that. You can say it's all going to fall to pieces, and I'm one of those people that says it eventually will, but that has more to do with the U.S. dollar than it does with business. The problem with Trump is he spends too much money. If the Democrats wanted to go after him for that, they would probably have some support if they understood economics and could explain it in a way that most people would get. But it would also mean they'd have to go up against the military-industrial complex, and now they just joined up. They can't go against them now. They can't be standing in the sidelines going, we need to withdraw from all these countries and close these military bases so we could bring billions of dollars home and build schools. That would be something people would get behind, Democrats. Can you name me a Democrat who wants to do that? Yeah, you could say Bernie, sorta, kinda. But ultimately, he's a socialist, so he wants to bring everybody home and then tax billionaires anyway and give everybody free college and Medicare. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's never going to pass. What Obama passed was essentially a giveaway to the insurance companies. Yes, there was some good in ACA. I benefited from ACA. But at the end of the day, people's rates went up. They couldn't keep their doctors. The website was a mess. They wasted $1 billion on it. There was insane amounts of problems. And that's what you get with government-run anything. You get an insane amount of problems. And what's the solution? Well, if we had more money, if we had a task force to check the people who are supposed to do their jobs, that task force turned out to be corrupt too. What we need is a second task force to check the task force so they make sure. And it's just endless. Nobody ever says, you know what? Maybe this was a bad idea. Let's just pull the plug on the whole thing and fire everybody. Let's go back to a laissez-faire model of Medicare where hospitals compete and, the AMA isn't licensing people. Maybe that would work. We had that system before and Medicare was very cheap. Now you could argue it wasn't, or medical care was very cheap. You could argue that it wasn't as effective, But now we have technology and knowledge that we didn't have then. You know, people can check their own doctor to make sure they're doing the right things. So maybe a more laissez-faire system would work. Certainly competition drives down prices, and that's what we need to get at with regards to Medicare, medical care, and college. So again, impeachment, not going to work. If you are a Democrat, I urge you to call your representative and beg them, please, stop trying to impeach Trump. It's not going to work. It's too late. He's going to be reelected. Just concentrate on policy. Concentrate on maybe losing with dignity. Maybe put up some policies that Trump would vote for. I mean, the guy has worked with Democrats, despite the way he's been treated. There was bipartisan legislation on prison reform. He's willing to do that if it makes him look good. You gotta let the guy look good. So what? It helps us. Doesn't cost you anything, except your ego.